Now, folks, Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here, taking a look at the tropical update for August 19th of 2020, brought to you by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling. Laura, Marco, and Nana next up on the list, and if everything shakes out like it's supposed to, we'll likely have all three of those by the time we get toward the middle of next week. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with them. Back in behind that is going to be Omar and Paulette. 97L here and 98L back over here. Both of them looking a whole lot better today than they looked 24 hours ago. First things first, we'll start in here with 97L. 60 to 80% chance of development as we head through the next 2 to 5 days on this one. And I've been talking about how, once it gets a little bit closer to Jamaica, that's when I think we're going to start to see some better development. And we'll have to kind of wait and see as it kind of crosses over the longitude here and gets a little bit closer to the Yucatan. Between the modeling that we're looking at right now, and we'll show this in a second, there's kind of an equal chance that it goes plowing into the Yucatan as it lifts off to the north and gets into the Gulf of Mexico. A 90% chance for development as we head through the next 2 to 5 days on Invest 98L out here. This one also looking a little bit better today. Recall yesterday I had like 2 areas of circulation and they were kind of connected with a little bit of a trough. That has since ceased and it's wrapped itself up and it's got kind of one area of centralized lower pressure probably trying to form in here. This one, with a pretty good shot of development over the next couple of days, we're going to have to kind of wait and see what ends up happening as it gets kind of beyond this, because it may intersect with some drier air out there, if that. We'll talk about that in a second. And then this one back here, which will eventually be designated 99L, I'm sure, with a 0% chance over the next 2 days, but about a 30% shot as we head through the next few days. Based on the modeling, probably an even better chance as we head past 5 and towards 6 and 7 days out. But nevertheless, as of right now, that's the way it's looking. Back over here, again, 97 and 98L out here. You can see that we've got a little bit of trough action in here and some dry air that this is going to have to try and traverse as it moves off to kind of the west-northwest. We'll have to see just how much that matters. You can see that it's got a pretty good shield in here of moist air in the mid-levels, so that dry air may not bother it too much. There's really not that much shear out ahead of this thing, but perhaps a little bit kind of in that kind of ballpark right in there. So as we head through the next 48 hours, that's going to be kind of what's going to be really telling for this one. A lot of the models don't have this doing anything because kind of right in here, it's got it getting beat up pretty good. And then as it makes its way out on the other side, then maybe it tries to get something done. Back over here toward 97, some of the models, again, kind of take it that direction. Others take it to the north. There's really not much standing in the way of that one developing as we head through the next 48 hours as well. Spaghetti plots, like I was saying, some of the models take this into Honduras and Nicaragua and even out toward Belize. And they're kind of split. You head through Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning and eventually through Sunday afternoon. You can see we've got one cluster. Let me click on the right thing. We got one cluster in here and another cluster kind of back over here. And this is the 18Z stuff. The 12Z stuff, the earlier in the day model stuff, was showing a few more clusters kind of lifting off to the north and trying to sneak into the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll have to see how this shakes out as we head through the rest of tonight. Back over here, Invest 98L, we've got a pretty good cluster in here. We're actually feeling pretty good about where this thing's going to be by the time we get toward Friday morning at 8 a.m. Beyond that, even through Saturday morning, we still have a pretty decent little cluster of modeling in here. It looks like a lot of these models maybe were able to grab on to one area of centralized lower pressure at least to try and make a forecast in here because, truth be told, even through Sunday, there's still a reasonable amount of agreement here. There we go. Between, let's try that again. Pen sometimes gets a little confused. Reasonable amount of agreement between the modeling in here about where this is going to be, somewhere between Cuba and the Bahamas, by the time we get towards Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. So this isn't going to ruin your weekend plans along the Gulf Coast. So get out and enjoy the weather around here, at least in South Mississippi. It's not going to be too bad. Looking at a couple of deterministic models in here, you can see that we've got 98L back over here and 97L in here. 98 looks a little better organized here on the GFS, but it does kind of run into a lot of the islands in here as 97L gets back out into the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico and kind of falls apart as it moves toward Texas. 98L gets into the Gulf and tries to make landfall somewhere across parts of the panhandle of Florida. And then Nana back over here, or 99L eventually, is a fish storm that stays out to sea and doesn't really bother anybody because you get a little bit of a weakening of that big ridge that's out here kind of guiding everything toward the Gulf right now. Over on the European side of things, so that was the GFS, the American. Here's a look at the European. We've got 97L here, 98L in here, and you can see 97 makes a run at the Yucatan, kind of scrapes over the top of it and ends up popping out on the other side reasonably unscathed. We've still got 98 in here, and then potential 99 back over here. This is through Sunday at 5, so remember I stopped all those spaghettis at about the same time, and all the spaghettis headed in here, and then there was kind of a split between the plots about where 97 was going to end up going, and notice that that takes it toward, unfortunately, Houston, and then the other one as a pretty beat up wave, a little bit closer to the Florida Panhandle and the Alabama and Mississippi coastline. We'll have to, again, wait and see. One deterministic run of one model. Back in behind that, 99L way out over here. So a lot going on in the tropics right now. Things are pretty active, but nothing is set in stone, and there's still actually a lot to figure out as we head through the next couple of days. We will continue to monitor it all and post these tropical updates every day. And here's a look at your tropical update for August 19th of 2020. Brought to you by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling.